Welcome back, everybody. Today we have Noemi from ScaleWave.io, and we're talking about a topic today that I'm quite excited about, the evergreen strategy. A couple of reasons why I care about this. One is because short-term strategies often lead to just short-term results. Don't really like that, so I'm a big fan of evergreen. But before we get into it, Noemi, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for inviting me on the show. I secretly am a fan of yours. I've been following your work for some time, especially whenever, you're interviewing common friends. I'm like, okay, how did they acted and what did they said and so on. So it's a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, thank you. I'm thrilled that you were able to come.
Sure.
So let's get into it. What is the evergreen strategy? What's your take? There's a million ways to have an evergreen strategy, but I think the audience would really like to know what yours is because you've been doing this for more than a minute.
2 minutes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, to be frank with you, I'm coming from a background that has nothing to do with advertising, which is music production. And in music production, used to have rules. I used to have frameworks. I used to know exactly what to do, how to create music, right? Because right now for a non-musician, it's like music is just everything at the same place. But what you have to do, you are the architect of this is the piano, those are the drums, those are the pads, those are the strings and so on, and whatever you get is just a totality of harmony. Now, when it comes down to advertising, I am in probably similar shoes as you are, Sean, that you are also started in Amazon as a private label seller. You were selling a few products, you learned Amazon ads because, it's like expensive to hire it out right away when you're like, oh, you promised that $5,000, it's going to get you there, and it's like, oh, you're ending up with $25,000 and like that's without anything else that you would hire, for your first product. Very long story short, that is also how I discovered that if I'm going to learn only the latest tricks, that I'm watching YouTube constantly, what's going to end up with, it's going to give me this false positive that I know what I'm doing when in fact I have no clue, and the worst case scenario that can happen is that you think that you can replicate success when in fact you cannot, right? And basically, based on that, I was thinking, okay, what would be the easiest way for me personally to understand advertising? And then what is also the easiest way for someone else to explain how advertising works? And even whenever we would have client discussions, someone junior PPC manager explaining to them, look, this is our core belief. This is how you should see PPC, It was Evergreen PPC framework is exactly that, explaining someone in an easy way how we are seeing ads and how to build them and structure them. Did that answer the question? It was long.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And I mean, it seems like you've really put some thought into it. Can you maybe talk a little bit about like what is some of the thinking behind it? Because people say they have an evergreen strategy, but then they don't really, like when you ask them like, why this or why that? They're like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you for noticing that. Yes, it was some thought behind. It was always, whenever I was looking up, for example, video tutorials on how to do XYZ when it comes down to PPC, everyone was talking about something specific, giving you an example. Go on Helium 10 and then look up your 10 competitors, and then based on that, look up the best 10 to 15 keywords, and then based on that, create an exact campaign and ensure that the search volume is going to be like similar for each of the keywords and so on, and it's like, I got that, I'm going to do it, but then where does that fit within how should I budget for it? How should I plan for it? And then I was thinking, this might be one type of campaign. Then others were, yes, create auto campaigns, then everything what it generated, go into your search term report, look up whatever it generated, whatever was profitable, then create a new campaign in exact match or phrase match or broad match, and then that is the mining strategy, And I was like, that's interesting, but that has nothing to do with the first strategy, although it's perfectly working fine if you're going to use it, And then other people were like, oh, you just released your brand, and why are you not defending your own brand? And why are you not creating for your own brand campaigns, with your brand name and for your own ASINs? And I was like, okay, so that strategy also works, but if you're going to do only that, you're going to miss out on the other two, So kind of like that was my thinking through, this is a strategy, it works, but why does someone promote it, because that's
Hmm.
not the ultimate. It's not the one thing that is going to work, but what is going to work is a mix or combination of all the five.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. And it sounds like you have a specific set of things that you you definitely recommend and advocate for. When it comes to putting all these things together, how did
Mhm.
you kind of find them? Or were there things that you tested over time? Were there things you learned? Or like how did you kind of finalize, or maybe not finalize because nothing's ever final, but how did you solidify this strategy? Where did that come from?
Testing and errors, and then whatever worked well. Because as I was saying, like I like to have as much control as I can because I know that Amazon is self-serving. Any business would be self-serving in this case, but they are an advertising platform, aka they are making money when they're going to charge you the most, right? So
Hmm. Yeah.
thinking of that, I was thinking, all right, so how do I make sure that whatever Amazon does, because I am selling on Amazon, I have to thrive on Amazon, not only just barely make it. How do I make that into my advantage, right? And then I was testing all these strategies, and honestly, I don't know, Sean, if you like, I personally I have not been I don't have formal education. So I started school, and then like the first year, first 3 months and so on, something happened in the family, and then I had to stop going to university, right? And
Hmm.
then that was for me always like I took it as, hey, that's not a disadvantage. That actually it's allowing me to become whoever I want to be, you know? And that also made me think of I did not invest it in university as anyone else. So whatever I'm learning, I'm going to invest like my own money, my own advertising budget in how I'm educating myself. Makes sense? So I was like,
Yeah.
man, I paid so much from my own money because honestly, maybe formal education is going to like cost very, very little depending where do you go to school. But here, honestly,
Hmm.
I paid at least the first year I paid $100,000 for my product, which is like, that's a very expensive school.
Yeah.
So basically, just like learning from, okay, what didn't work? Because I
Hmm.
literally, my own money, it's going there, right?
Hmm.
So kind of that is like, that's the urgency metric there for me, if it makes sense.
Yeah. You're a lot more likely to learn when it's really your money on the line.
And 100%. And I think that also is also because you started that way, right? I think that is a connection that is going to be way more helpful how to relate to clients, because that way is
Mhm.
like, I get the fear, I get the panic, I get all that. In the same time, I'm here to tell you that emotion and money, if they are going hand in hand, you're set up for failure usually, because you are not going
Mhm.
to take extremely big risk when it comes down to advertising. I mean, how much risk can you take? Because then, like worst case scenario, you're going to be fired as an agency if you're mismanaging someone else's money, right? But you're always
Mhm.
thinking of someone else's money as your own because you have to protect it, right? So
Mhm.
that's kind of the outcome there. And that is something that made the strategies themselves clear, because that was my only way. Test, 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 see what works, and then can I duplicate success? And if I can, that was a check mark of this is the strategy.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that, and it's funny you bring that up because that is the way that's like the heuristic we have at our agency is like, if this was my money, would I feel confident spending it this way? Would I feel good about this? And yeah, that is pretty much the only way that we like to approach advertising. So highly agree, and I think that's a really well spoken point. So I want to talk about the toolbox.
Let's
What's
do it.
what's in the toolbox? What do we got?
So before we're going into the toolbox, first, I would like to mention something that is really important. As I was saying, Amazon is going to treat their money not as theirs, So based
Hmm.
on that, what we want to understand is what is the strategy first that we're going to apply? And based on that, there are 5 strategies, and the 5 strategies are first one is protect. So basically, this is going to be anything that is defense strategy. So you're going to shield your own brand, your own branded terms, your own brand name, your own listings, right? The second one is conquer. So this is an offense campaign, and here really important for the conquer campaign, we are not going for the most expensive product, but we're going to take advantage of products that are cheaper than ours or wherever or whenever we have an advantage over them, right? The ranking strategy, this is the very first one that I just mentioned, exact matches. And here the purpose is going to be to rank for specific keywords. By rank, I mean AKA, if the keyword is converting for you and you get one sale organically, that's going to move you up because Amazon considers that you are relevant for that specific keyword or search term, right? And then dominate, this is whenever you want to get visibility, as much visibility as you can. So this is a power play of visibility on different placements, on different product pages. And then the fifth one is the discover. This is the exploration. This is the one that I was mentioning at the beginning. Maybe odd, maybe broad, maybe phrase, maybe category targeting, maybe it's going to be expanded, or modified broad. So there we're mining, we're going to find whatever works well for us. And yeah, this is basically the toolbox, and then if you want to, we can go through each of them. We can go into more detail, explain more. So it's up to you.
Yeah, I definitely want to dive deep into each of these. I have to say, this is a very well thought out approach. And
Thank you.
yeah, I like this a lot because it's very easy to explain. Each of these has like a what's that expression? An easy analogy for you to compare it to. So I really think kudos to you for putting together such a well thought out list of things.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so funny. It's so funny. Like now as an advertiser, I would say, hey, this is actually a good idea. But back when you're a music producer and like, I have no clue what I'm doing. And you have the impression that don't know nothing. So you're going to to learn even more and like do even more, back then it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So appreciate that feedback. It's always meaningful. All right.
Yeah. Well, let's get into let's start with protect. We can do it in order. So let's go with protect.
All right. So protect, basically, we are going to defend whatever it's ours. Here, it's going to be the purpose of safeguarding our own listings. And what you can do, you are also stopping competitors from your listings. Because keep in mind that you might say that, yes, you are just brand new to the platform. Actually, I'm here to tell you that I am a very kind person. I love to share as much education as I can and offer as much value, but I'm also the first one that is going to show up on your listing if you're my competitor, right? So here, what I'm going to say that you have to safeguard yourself from someone who's going to see you as a weaker competitor who just like, hey, I just want to make sure they might have no clue whatever is going on the platform. I want to target them, So, and the protect strategy, that's where it comes in handy. And usually this is something that I would say I'm always having it on. It's non-negotiable. There are certain ideas that are that you're going to cannibalize or you're going to like, why are you paying for something that you should be found for? And here I'm like, all right, so there are certain brands that we just took over and the only strategy that is really working for them is brand defense strategy, right? Like that is something that is working really, really well for them. And if they don't have that strategy at all, then, who's going to buy their product, So that's why I'm saying that this is a strategy that I would start with, even if you have zero, like no one is knowing your product, And then targeting, we would target here brand keywords and async targeting, so our own asyncs. And then campaign types, this is something that you can apply in sponsor products, sponsor brand videos, sponsor display ads. So it's easy to go to. And when it comes down to ranking power, and I'm going to explain also ranking power just a bit. So ranking power, basically, I think I invented this word, or I don't know, but I think it's very accurate. When we're talking about ranking power, we're talking about everything that is exact match is going to help you quicker to get to your organic ranking, so higher on the page, whatever it is, phrase match, a broad match, autocomplete, and so on, those are also going to help you. And imagine that that's a big ship that is coming, over the seas versus the super quick and like I'm there already. So the speedboat, So everything that is vertical is going to be the speedboat. Everything that's horizontal is going to be the very slow boat, but it might be cheaper. So it is both a vertical and horizontal strategy. And tips here, I would say this is something that you should be having it as insurance policy, because as I was saying, Amazon is going to reward you if you're going to bid on that simply because it's going to be the cheapest for you. So if someone's looking for your own brand name, highly likely that they want to buy your product. So that's kind of in a nutshell the protect or defense strategy.
That's really cool. I do have a follow-up question when it comes to protect. We're back after some minor technical difficulties. But what I was asking you, Noemi, is when it comes to the protect strategy, when you're working with a company that maybe has a huge presence off of Amazon, whether that's a big Shopify presence or a big retail presence, how do you adjust the strategy for that? Because that's something that I've seen like generally is something where you might want to run a different approach, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Sure. And that is I love this question because you clearly are an advertiser, so you understand what is going on. So what we've seen on our end is that even if they're going to do that, what is going to end up with, say I am shopping on Google. Actually, I'm not shopping. I'm looking on Google to look into maybe nicotine gums. Maybe that's one of my things. And then it's showing up a Google ad for one product. And then what is going to happen? Yeah, but I might think that maybe I can find it on Amazon because, it's super convenient for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to navigate to Amazon. I'm going to look up the exact same product that I found. And then I'm like, okay, I'm a Prime subscriber already. I can get this today, like in 2 hours, 3 hours, So I'm going to go for that, And then that is something that I'm always talking and have conversation with brands. It's great that you're already running brand defense on other platforms. What is going to happen though is that other platforms, you already have your back, but the same strategy must be applied also to Amazon. Why? Is because if you're not going to do that, your competitors, seeing that you have a high search volume, because technically you would have a higher search volume on Amazon even if you're not advertising, just because people were searching that search term or your brand name on Amazon, but they couldn't find this. So what they're doing, they're going with alternatives, right? So what I'm saying is that, yes, it makes total sense for you to run ads, maybe external ads, maybe Facebook, Google, or so on, whatever type of ads you would be running externally. If you're not going to protect your own brand also on Amazon, as I was saying, I am going to be snatching that place because probably it's super cheap because no one is advertising for it, So that's the way how I'm thinking of, yes, it's great that you're advertising on other platforms as well, but at the end, whoever saw the ad, whoever clicked on the ad, and if that became a conversion, it makes that your Amazon ads made that sales, not your Google ads, not your Facebook ads, right? So that is kind of the strategy that I'm using there. How do you see this? I'm curious also on your end.
So I respectfully disagree with you.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah. So, and I look at this specifically from the approach of search volume, right? So what we've done is we've worked with a lot of companies who have a big branded presence, and we look at search query performance. And so we'll run 2 weeks where we have full branded spend, and then we look at the search query performance report and see how many purchases and what conversion share did we get. And then we do 2 weeks all off. It's a bit of a pain because you have to really negate every campaign to make sure there's no branded spend happening. And then you compare the 2 weeks. And what we've seen is the conversion share for your own branded terms, Finn, on bestsellers at least, will still be 95% plus your brand. I look at this kind of stuff, and I should actually put out a case study for this because we've done it a bunch of times, and every single time, there may be a minor variance in how much you're giving away in terms of conversion share. So maybe you had 97% of the sales and now you've done a 94, but it's never gone below 90 on any substantial search volume keyword. And so that's why I've been less thrilled lately, less thrilled with branded search because I've ran these tests. But again, it's also company dependent. So I don't know that this is fair to say as a blanket statement. It might make more sense to do it on some and not for others, So that's my opinion there is it's worth running a test because you can now get the data.
I love that. Sean, I think that is really good. And I honestly, this is I love that because, you have a different perspective. You're testing different things. I'm testing different things. Now, what I would like to challenge you there, maybe run for more than 2 weeks. Because what we've seen on our end, we also did this type of test. And 2 weeks is kind of like the hibernation period. And what we notice on our end, that is whenever, for example, ads are stopping, something happen and so on, we would still have sales. And then customer, like they're coming in like, oh, so we still have sales. So why do we invest in advertising? I'm like, yeah, give it 1 more week, 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
Come back to me, and then we're going to pay again for ranking you out. So here, just like I would be super curious also on your end to see how it's going to react after 3-4 weeks even, because then there's a bigger date range, and then you can see, is this actually working the way how we're thinking or not? Because also like on our end, I don't like to pay for something that I think that it's not going to work. Also, I like to pay for something that I think it's going to work. This is a constant conversation when we have with clients that, oh, I already paid so much there, like why should I pay there as well? So when we are running tests, we're running them 3+ weeks, 4+ weeks. And then honestly, on our end, we didn't see the same results. So this is why I'm saying that it's definitely possible, and also it depends, as you were saying, on brands. If you want to push ads for your Amazon app, like presence, like who am I to say no, even if I am the strategist that you hired, So yeah, I got that. I hear you.
Well, I think I should have done a better job explaining. We ran this test 6 months ago, and then we've turned off branded spend and monitored, and nothing changed. That's the
Okay.
punchline. But yeah,
Okay.
I should have said
it
that.
makes sense. No, it makes sense. That's why I'm saying, because like, we have different experiences based on whatever we try. So it's completely fine. All right. That's what I'm saying. Try it. If it
Yeah.
works for you and for your client, go for it. For us, it didn't, So that's why I'm saying like, hey, I'm more than happy to try because, makes sense. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm saying like, go for it. Go for it. If it works for you, go for it. That is the
Yeah.
final answer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like test and see if it actually works, because for some people
Yeah.
it does, for many it doesn't. So yeah, it's something that I think the brand I have in mind can get away with. Again,
Yeah.
it's what can you really get away with. So let's talk about Conquer, because we spent a lot of time on defense, but I feel like Conquer is one of those ones where there's a lot of really interesting insights that you have.
Yeah, so Conquer basically is very similar to brand, like to the Protect, where you're going to defend your brand. But this is something that you're going to apply a strategy on your competitors' products, right? And the purpose is here to capture competitor real estate. And very important here, because most people are saying that I'm going to take up market share for my best competitor, and I have the 0 reviews and they have the 11,000 reviews. I'm like, I'm going to be successful. I'm not talking about that, right? So I'm talking about whoever you have advantage. So if you are priced at $50, they are priced at $100. Even if they have more reviews than you have, people who are more money conscious, or maybe they don't see the value of, AirPods and my freaking whatever, the backup that right now it works. AirPods, I would choose them absolutely from many competitors. This have the longest battery. The sound, it's crappy. My AirPods, I love it. But that's why I'm saying that if you are the product that it's a competitor against the AirPod, go for it, So those would be the competitors that we're targeting. We want to still get cheap sales. We don't want to dominate their branded terms. We want to piggyback on someone else's poorly optimized listing, basically, right? And then, makes sense? So
Yeah.
I think that is important note, because whatever I am presenting this, like, yes, Conquer, they are like, people usually are thinking that, oh, that's going to be too expensive for me. It's like, yes, it can be if you're not targeting the correct targets, right? But if you are, and if you understand the strategy, it can be super cheap. So the purpose of the strategy is to be cheap sales from unoptimized listings. And here, when it comes down to that, really cost can depend on if they're already advertising their branded terms, probably you're going to pay just a bit more to show up on their listings, right? But if they're not, again, these are cheap sales, basically, right? When it comes down to targeting, we would target their branded names, their branded keywords, and their listings as well. So async targeting. And campaign times, we can do really all the campaign types: sponsor product, sponsor brand display, sponsor brand video, and sponsor display as well. So ranking power, this is going to be both vertical and horizontal. If you're going in exact match, it's going to be vertical. If it's going to be the other match types, it's going to be a horizontal ranking. And as I was saying, my best tip here is you are piggybacking. Think of this as a piggybacking strategy rather than this is a strategy that is going to make most of my money, In some scenarios, this
Mm,
work really well and it makes more, the async targeting makes more than keyword targeting, So right now I'm just like challenging, hey, this is a strategy, try it out and see which one works best for your product.
yeah, I like that a lot. We also use this a lot, and we've seen it help build up momentum on slow products. That's something that has been really handy. Where do you recommend people find their competitors? Do you like the search results, or do you like category targeting campaigns, or both? I'm just trying to help the audience here.
Or so it really depends on where do you want to win. So one of the things that I like to do is, let's say for specific keywords. Now the keyword itself might be expensive, but what you can do, you can go and look up, let's say your main keyword, we were using nicotine gum. Let's say nicotine gum is going to be one of the things that you want to rank for. Now in this scenario, probably maybe it is which are the Nicorette is very known nicotine gum, for example. So in that case, what you would do is you would look up, all right, so how are they doing? What are their products? How much their product costs? And when you see that you have a competitive advantage, let's say they're selling 30 counts, you're selling 100, and their pricing is like higher than yours, that is going to become one of the best competitions. Something else that I like to do here, and this is not as much as branded defense, but ensuring that we're showing up on all their listings, I'm going to look up, for example, just their brand and then all their products, and then showcasing their product line. So why not? Because that is free traffic. Other way, it's the category targeting. So we would do product targeting and then we would choose everything that has, let's say, less than 4 stars and it has X amount of reviews. That is also a
Mhm.
really good approach. What else? I think these are the most common ones that we are doing. Something else that we would do here as well, we would look into, for example, our listing, because as I was mentioning, probably even if you just launch, someone else is already under your listing. So you would look up whoever is advertising under my product and against whom do I have an advantage, right? Because they already found
Mm,
you, targeted you. And then again, if they're selling their product for $50 or $100, you're selling it for $50, you have a competitive advantage even if you have 0 reviews. So those are going to become the competitors, and then you can look up like branded names, branded keywords as well. So that would be the strategy there.
I think you made a really good point, and I'm just going to repeat it so that anyone listening can really hear this. The competitive advantage is such a key factor. And I think that's actually one of the things that makes the Conquer strategy so effective. And I think your explanation of where do I have a competitive advantage is so poignant because it really, really, really makes sense for specific products and specific times. So if you have a product that maybe can't rank on all the keywords because of price point or something like that, like using a conquer approach can often be really, really effective because you can find spots where you have a competitive advantage and then exploit that. So I really like that. I couldn't agree more. Okay,
Amazing. Yeah.
let's talk about ranking.
Ranking is one of the more commonly known strategies. Every Amazon self-titled guru is this is what they are going to explain. Go your top 10 competitors, take their keywords, and then put them in exact match and then bid on them higher. So that would be the strategy.
Yeah.
But basically, the purpose of it is to boost your page 1 visibility. And here, it's going to be great for product launches. And if you also want to maintain specific position for keywords, this is really important because what we've seen on our end is that it might be that you're converting really well this week on specific keywords, but if you're not going to push the same exact match strategy on them, for example, next week, your competitor might see, hey, actually, I can pick up market share from that particular ASIN, and they're going to like replicate your strategy, And then of course, you have to decide at which point it's still worthwhile for you to still invest money in exact match for that particular keyword, if it's still working for you or not, right? Because if the difference is between a 20% ACOS to it's pushing up to 100, 200% ACOS, it's going to really come down to, does this still worth it for me? Or how much money does this keyword is bringing me? How many orders? Because then it's going to be a strategic move. I got it, competition, they have money. Okay, now I have to make my move, So that would be the strategy. When it comes down to cost level, this is really dependent on how many people are already bidding in exact match for that particular keyword. And as I was saying here, we're targeting exact matches, both for exact match keywords and both for exact match products. So I know that right now Amazon, whenever you would create product targeting, they have actually, for some reason, I call this sneaky default. They have it the expanded version on. The expanded is not going to give you the same result as exact matches. I
Yeah.
letting you know, if you have both of them on, be prepared to pay a lot of money for things that you don't want. So ensure that you're going to have the exact match on. And then ranking power, this is vertical. So whenever you convert on that specific keyword, Amazon considers that you are, this is the product that they advertise for. I'm going to push organic ranking. You're making sales, and that would be the strategy, right? If you're converting on it, and if you are still if your product is well positioned for those products that are also competing for the same keywords, right? So use cases, really, it's going to be, we would do a reverse async lookup here, and we would look up, all right, our competitors, whatever they are doing, whatever it's already bringing them money, let's try them out. Are those keywords actually relevant for our product? Because if they're not, and the competitors are still bidding on them, it's not going to convert because you're not relevant. But if you are relevant, you would keep bidding on those keywords. And here, what you can do also certain reports, analysis, and then see whatever work well in discovery campaigns, and then have them in an exact match. Now, I am the first one that's going to guarantee you, Amazon is going to assure you that it's whenever it worked in something that is discovery, it's not going to work in exact match the same way. So just heads up there, but also that is an option whenever it's you find it in your search term, it worked well, put it in exact match, see how you're going to convert for them. And if you're still converting, great. If you're not converting, leave it in discovery and then go for other keywords. That would be the idea. Brand analytics, search query performance report. You were mentioning search query performance reports. Those are also great ways for us to find these type of keywords.
Yeah. And I love that. I think that's incredibly helpful. So yeah, really Cerebro and brand analytics and top search terms and search query performance report. We're big fans of that as well. And yeah, couldn't agree more. That is the best place to be going to get exactly what you need here. And then obviously search term reports too. It is funny you bring that up because that was one of the things when I first started advertising on Amazon that bothered me the most is you have a search term and that search term works in an automatic campaign. And then suddenly it stops working when you put it in exact match. That was one of the most infuriating things. And then to undo your work and then have it start working again, you're like, what is going on here? So I've always found that to be kind of funny. Yeah, it definitely, that can happen more frequently than you think.
100%.
Okay. I want to jump over to Dominate now. Let's talk about Dominate. What is it?
Perfect. So it's a very similar approach to the rank campaigns. The only difference here is that you want to own market share for that keyword no matter what, or you want to own market share for that async target no matter what. And basically here you would control the placement. And I'm not talking only top of search. I'm talking whichever placement works really well for you, you want to dominate. You want to increase placement modifiers there. And it's going to be best use case for this one for critical keywords where you want the maximum market share. You can do this also for your own brand name, by the way. So if you want to ensure that no one else is going to bid under, if you have several color variations or something that is complementary, you would ensure that you're going to target those and show them under your listing. And that's also where we would apply a dominate campaign. Because keep in mind that here your bid might be higher, but your CPC is going to be still lower, right? So the takeaway is that you want to assure that that spot, that real estate is yours. So that is the purpose of the dominate campaign. And then cost, this highly likely that might be some like costly a lot. It's going to cost you more just because you want to assure that that is your place, right? So you have an important concert, you are going to be okay with 100% like deposit reservations, just that you're going to have the spot. Now imagine Dominate is kind of similar to that. You want to assure that you're going to be there, right? And when it comes down to targeting, here we would target exact match, either keywords, either ASINs. And then campaign types, we can use the sponsor product, sponsor brand, a video, sponsor display. So all of them. And then this is also having a ranking power of like vertical ranking. So you're going to assure that you're going to stay in the very first pages for this type of like strategies or campaigns. And then here I'm adjusting a step as you want to control something. Either you're going to control CPCs, so you're going to pay the highest, and then whenever you're paying the highest, and you would see that there are certain placements where you convert really well within the ACOS for yourself, that is the moment then you're going to increase the placements. You're not going to increase placements right away. Reason for that is because what I'm seeing is, and also curious on your end, what's going to happen most of the time is that for these campaigns, especially, you're going to like play around a lot with campaigns placements, and if you're not careful enough, you're going to also increase the bids for them. And then what's going to end up with is like, you had also the placement quantifier, you also increase the bids, and it's like, okay, what is going on right now? Because the 20% ACOS today, tomorrow is going, or in 2 days is like 100%. What the heck happened? And then you don't know what caused it, This is the easiest where you can go wrong. So I'm just like highly encouraging whenever you're going to do this, ensure that in the campaign name, when it says dominate, and also you're going to write, maybe if you have a placement modifier, write it within the campaign name. So you're not going to treat that campaign the same way how you would treat a discover campaigns where we want to be under break-even ACOS. That is the success metric of that campaign. This campaign, it might be 100% ACOS, but if it's still keeping you up top and organically you are ranking and you're bringing in more sales, for those are not going to be treated the same way, or not going to be optimized the same way how you would optimize something where you want cheap sales. Yeah, kind of. This is the idea behind it. Visibility, power play. That's it.
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I really like the dominate strategy. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's very similar to the approach we use. What we do that maybe is a little bit different than you guys is we set really low budgets in the beginning of these campaigns. And we try to we'll purposely have a campaign go out of budget as quickly as we can, just to make sure we understand what the CPC at each placement will end up being. So a campaign we intend on spending $150 a day on, we might have a $25 or $50 budget to start, just to see how can we start getting CPCs at the placements we care about. And then we scale up the budget once we figure out what the optimal bid is. So that's something we do a little bit differently, but overall, I think this is a really well thought out strategy and one that anyone listening could use to grow their sales right away. So yeah, kudos
Shad,
to you.
may I? Thank you so much. May I chime in there? Because I don't think that we're doing things differently. I think that first you're starting with the ranking campaign and then you are transitioning it into a dominate campaign from what you're saying, right? Because you want to see what is my cost, and then am I willing to pay the price for it? So I think that we are doing things exactly the same way. It's just maybe that, yeah, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
okay,
that's
perfect.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't connect those two the way that you described that. Yeah. Basically, you start it with a ranking
I spent
campaign.
2 seconds on it. You spent only 1, so I'm fine with that.
Okay, there we go. Nice.
It's okay. I love that.
Okay, so then the last thing in your framework, in your evergreen framework, is discover. And I think this is a really important one because I think it's one that goes missing for a lot of brands. So I'd love to hear about the discovery approach.
Yeah, so basically the discover, we are going to explore. So we're going to mine for keywords that we did not maybe even know that are going to work for us, or for keywords maybe specific routes work for us, but we're like, I'm not sure how is that going to like what is going to work, like how it's going to work in the future for me. And then here the purpose is going to be to find and test new search terms and see whatever, either if you're going to run auto campaigns, if that makes sense to like just leave it to Amazon, or whatever you're going to show my product for. And the reason why I'm saying that is because whenever I started advertising like five years ago for our brand, and it was, no, I know what I'm doing. It has to be exact match, and I'm going to pay $100 and 200
Hmm.
bucks even, and it's everything manual. I have the most control. What I noticed is because I did that, I did not allow myself the chance that right now I'm seeing actually brands that were helping auto campaigns. Truth being told, in 5 years, a lot of changed. So right now, auto campaigns behave totally differently than 5 years ago. But what I'm saying, auto campaigns are super, super helpful, especially now, and especially if you are controlling. Let's say you're going to show up only for substitutes, you're showing only one product, and so on. So when it's sculpted the campaign rather than try and throw it and see if it works, right? So that would be the purpose of the discover campaign. And this is going to be best use case in any stage of the product, and cost level can be from really cheap to super expensive. The trick here is, as Sean was saying, we would apply the same strategy for ranking, also for discovery campaigns. Start as low as possible and see where your break-even ACOS, like what was the break-even point, Because the strategy here is, if you're going to get 10 clicks, but you're bidding 20, you're still going to have budget versus you're bidding $2 and like 10 clicks, right? So that's why I'm saying that that would be the idea, to get as cheap as possible sales for these campaigns. And then targeting, we would do auto, price, and category targeting. You can do also broad modifier. You can also do the product targeting, the expanded version, but always really important, have only the one thing on. So if this is a broad match campaign, only broad match should be. If it's an exact match, phrase match campaign, only phrase matches should be. If this is an auto campaign and you want to test it, have only one targeting on. Let's say close match or substitute or loose match or complements. If you have all of them on, yes, you might be gathering data, but I'm always looking at the end goal. All right, so if I want to control this campaign, what is going to be easiest or hardest for me to control? If I have a ton of like searches from different things, and then I have to negate also products, I have to negate also keywords, so that's, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, let's minimize the risk as much as possible. I'm starting only with this campaign, this targeting. Yes, I might need to create 4 campaigns or 5 campaigns if I want to do so, but it's more, I have more control, right? And then the ranking power there is going to be horizontal. You can apply this in any ad type whenever that allows auto targeting, And then a tip here is going to be, this is going to be great for keyword harvesting. Whatever works for you, it's great. Do not negate, never negate. If it works fine for you, don't negate before you would be like negating and bringing it into exact match. That is something that most advertisers, I think they preached a lot a few years back. Don't do that, because what's going to happen is that you are kind of like becoming this god of Amazon PPC, and like you're imposing Amazon yourself. Now I am in exact match. Now it should work exactly the same way. It's not going to, So that's why I say, if it's working well in auto campaign or like discover campaign, leave it there. You can also bring it into its own exact match campaign, but do not negate it, right? So again, one more tip here, because this type of campaigns are going to bring multiple searches that might not be favorable for you. Do ensure that you're not going to mass negate. What is
Hmm.
happening often when I'm talking about mass negate, also curious on your take here, you're going to just end up with not having impressions at all anymore, and you don't know
Hmm.
what is causing it, So we will test on small batches, see exactly this keyword is totally irrelevant to me, I'm going to negate it. But if previously it was 100% equals, okay, I'm still going to give it one more chance, If not, I'm going to negate it, because clearly it's not, it's a discovery campaigns. The strategy is to give cheap sales. It's not bringing cheap sales. It's bringing sales, but it's not cheap enough, So then that's the process when we would start negating. That's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah. What we end up doing, and so something that's been really crazy. You brought up auto campaigns have changed since
Hmm.
you started selling on Amazon. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Auto campaigns these days are like a huge part of our strategy. it's strange. Like the advertiser in me from a few years ago hates the idea that we're using so many automatic campaigns, but it just keeps working. So, catch-all campaigns, dual product automatic campaigns, really big fan of them because they work. The way you kind of talk about it, like, yeah, it's a discovery campaign. You're going to find all kinds of new stuff in there. The only additional thing I would say is
Mhm.
these campaigns do also allow you to win on the hyper specific long tail searches that you wouldn't get anywhere else. So to stick with your nicotine gum example, nicotine gum for someone who's quitting smoking and on day 4, like that, there's probably like one search like that in Amazon, and you can be the only person advertising or one of the very few people advertising thanks to an automatic campaign.
Yeah, 100%. 100%
So
love that addition. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So Noemi, as we kind of wrap up, I think, do you have any kind of final tips or suggestions or anything that didn't kind of fit into the evergreen strategy you just talked about?
Uh, I think the only thing is that really, like right now, if you went through this episode, you understand theory. Next is go into your campaign and try to see whatever is within your account, how would you classify them? And then, is this a protect strategy? Is this a rank strategy? Is this a discovery campaign? Is this dominate campaign? Because once that you have that defined, it's going to be way easier for you to. So I don't have to optimize all the bids the same way, but discovery bids for discovery campaigns are going to be optimized differently. Bids for ranking campaigns are going to be optimized differently. So I think the only aha is going to be, okay, now I acknowledge that these campaigns or these strategies already exist within my account without me maybe intentionally knowing. If you knew them, amazing. If you didn't, then now you have the chance of, so I'm not going to anymore go to the bulk files and like download everything and like, if this then that, but you're going to be more mindful of, okay, so this is a ranking campaign, so it should be costing me more. I understand now. Does it actually improves organic ranking? It doesn't. Okay, now I'm going to optimize the bids. It's a discovery campaign. Yeah, no question there. So I think just now that you understand the theory, how are you going to apply that within your account? There are some troubleshooting tips also that I would give you. The first one is going to be clicks without conversion. Look up whatever you're targeting. So if you're not targeting the right keywords, the right products, yeah, it doesn't matter like which strategy you're going to apply, it's not going to work for you. So then you would either optimize your listings if your targets are on point, or if the targets are not on point, clearly, okay, this campaign makes no sense, you would re-strategize there. Also, one more troubleshooting tip is going to be if you have impressions, but again, you have no clicks, you would look into, okay, so what is causing that, right? It might be that you need to increase your bids, so you're going to show up in a different placement. Impressions without conversion, again, you would reevaluate the placement to understand where do I show up? Because if it's everything goes in rest of search, but nothing in top of search placement, and it's a ranking strategy, it's like, okay, I'm bidding too low again. So understanding that. And then I think also something else that people are not really realizing, and I love that you use this strategy very very, very well on point when we were talking about campaign budget. You would look into, is the budget running out before midnight, or like when is my budget running out? Because based on that, you will see and understand you're not going to be, okay, manual campaigns must dominate my whole account, but what is actually the best strategy for my account that works right now? And do I have enough budget for those campaigns? Because if you don't, no matter what strategies, no matter whatever like you learned here, the things that works well for you, they don't have enough budget, right? So that's going to be, again, just a quick troubleshooting thing. So yeah, basically,
Yeah.
as I was saying right now, that was long. It's like it takes some time to think of, but it's super easy. Just assess where you are, which are the campaign types or strategies that are within your account right now, and then see, okay, based on that, how am I going to move forward, and strategically think rather than, oh, new hack, new hack. So that's kind of it.
Yeah. I love that. You're the anti-hack. You're like,
I'm the
I,
anti-hack because I learned that hacks are
yeah,
expensive. That's why.
that's
Yeah.
that's a fair point. Hacks can be
Yeah.
very expensive.
Very
So
expensive.
Noemi, where can people find you on the internet? how can they get in touch with you if they want to learn more about what you do?
Sure thing. So I'm most active on LinkedIn. You can befriend me on LinkedIn. The name is Noemi. So Noemi Boljan. I'm the first person that's coming up with that. Or if you want to check out more about who we are, ScaleWave, go to scalewave.io. That's scalewave.io. Check us out up there, as well as if you want to contact me personally, you can go to contact@scalewave.io. Shoot a message if you have a question. Happy to answer. And also mention that you listen to this podcast. So yeah, I know that my voice was heard. So thank you.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, Noemi, thanks for being so thoughtful and intentional with everything you brought. I
sure
think
thing.
anyone who listens all the way through will get an absolute boatload of value. And I really appreciate you doing that. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for making it happen. If you wouldn't have invited me, this episode would have not been possible. So you're still the rock star. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Until next time.